Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Squared Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Johnny Bottles. I'm a recovering Jerichoholic. I'll admit it. I'll say it in public. I've got my chip. To my left, Dr. Don Wayne, the neckbeard psychologist. You know him. You love him from Twitter. And he does some exemplary work on Twitter, talking people off the ledge and out of the basement. Don, you know, some stars in professional wrestling are household words. They're household words. Like the great Jim Cornette says, so's garbage. And it always starts to stink if it stays around too long. And that's this case that we have with the man that was in the thumbnail for this show. The great Christopher Irvine. You know him as Chris Jericho.
Thanks, everybody, for
what are we going to do?
I mean, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. Thanks, everybody, who could tune in on this special edition Sunday. We will not be doing a show Tuesday. We have some commitments that we got to make. So we want to make sure we get this show out. We both really wanted to talk about this past Wednesday night. We've had a SmackDown as well. So we've got a couple of different things we can cover here.
We got a Dynamite. We got a SmackDown.
No, we've got a show. The other one was a shit show. There's a huge difference.
Yes.
Do you want to start off with AEW's live Wednesday night show that was a complete and total flop? The numbers are out. It did what, 783,000, 780,000, something along those lines?
Somewhere along those lines, yeah, it did. It did. And they really botched it from the ad that they put on Twitter and on social media. MJF will be here to open the show. Why would you have your biggest star open the show? Why wouldn't you have your biggest star, besides Samoa Joe, of course, open the show and not be at the 9 o'clock hour to rake viewers in or be in the main event segment of the show? Why wouldn't they do that? Don, why wouldn't they do that?
I don't understand, and you and I talked about it. MJF has been gone a long time, right? People are going to tune in at the top of the hour to see this show, specifically to see him. I know I was tuning in to see him. There was no doubt about it. When I saw he was coming out the top of the hour, I said, this doesn't make any sense to me from a marketing campaign. You already have the big bangers hanging around. You already have the diehards, the guys that want to see MJF like me that are going to be there, that are going to watch this show. I need to know when he's going to be on. And you give him to me right out of the gate instead of the top of the 9 o'clock hour to either build your audience back or hold them. Once you went through this first 30-minute segment with him in it, the ratings jumped right off the cliff. It was a bunch of lemurs just right off the cliff. Get the hell out of here. I'm not coming back. And they didn't come back. They started off with like 900,000. The MJF segment kept them well in the 800s. And then it didn't get any better.
I just don't understand why they would do that. And I mean, people tuned in last week to see MJF. They were all there last week. What did they do last week? 760,000 last week, I believe.
That was pretty high. Yeah.
Yes. 760,000 people last week, roughly, tuned in to see MJF because they knew he was at Double or Nothing, the previous weekend's big pay-per-view. And he never showed up last week, which was a missed opportunity to begin with. He should have came out and done his promo last week. He could have had a match this week. Instead, he's supposed to be facing Roosh, the man with the horns.
Oh, my God, this shit. I guess we can start it off. I mean,
don't know what he's going to do that. Forbidden Door, maybe? Who knows?
I don't know. But thanks, everybody, for watching tonight. Like I said, an impromptu show. We figured we better get on this. Like and subscribe. We appreciate the notifications. Appreciate the subs. Really, we're trying to get to the 800 threshold now. We're getting close. I think we're about 23 away. So thank you all so very much. Excuse me. Super chats are open. We have an NXT show tonight as well that I might be tuning into to see what's going on with that. It looks like it might be pretty interesting.
A man who they've done no favors for him in AEW whatsoever. He just sat home languishing, good in the ring, good-looking kid. He could talk his ass off. Mr. All-Ego Ethan Page was just sitting around the house waiting for his contract to expire, like a lot of people in AEW. And he took a chance and said, I'm betting on myself. And he went to NXT and got signed by Triple H. Even though he claims he has no contract, they wouldn't have a guy with no contract face the NXT champion. So
right.
I'm very, very happy for Ethan Page. He deserves it. He's a good talent.
And that starts at what? 8 o'clock East Coast time?
8 o'clock, I believe. And that's going to be at the UFC Apex Center down in Florida. It holds, I think, roughly not quite 800 people.
Somewhere
in that
there,
facility. They sold like 698 tickets for this event. I saw early this morning. It's probably sold out now. And I would wager, since TNA Impact, or whatever they're calling TNA Wrestling now, is looking for a new home, that they can just be based there, no traveling all around, do live TV shows out of. It's going to be, I predict, the UFC Apex Center in Florida. That's where it's going to take place.
Well,
but there's more about that. There's a lot of other rumors swirling right now, Don. As you heard, we were talking about it earlier.
Well, I would say
WWE. We'll save that.
I just want to talk about the AEW program because I'm going to cuss you like a dog before we all get done with this. I love you like a brother, but the fact that I had to go back and finish this bullshit on a Sunday, you got me watching bad TV on a Sunday, Johnny Bottles, and we're going to get to it. MJF, like we said, comes out first.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now before you go on, mother effer, if I got to suffer through the whole goddamn show on Wednesday, you're suffering. Sometimes that show puts me to sleep, and I'll wake up at 11, 12 o'clock. I'm running at 10:10, and it's Don Wayne. Johnny Bottles, did you watch AEW? It sucked my asshole. I get voicemail messages from him like that, and I'm sound asleep laying on the couch because that show for me is just, it's wrestling NyQuil. It just puts me right out. It's horrible. So I will go back and watch the show just to make sure I'm abreast of what happened.
And I remember NXT is either in Vegas or Florida, but it doesn't matter. I think it might actually be Vegas. I think it's the Vegas Center that they're at.
Vegas, Florida.
It's somewhere hot.
It's a facility that's owned by TKO Sports.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. MJF comes out and he cuts a promo and he puts everybody on notice, which I didn't mind. The part that made me pop, he said, I'm going to wrestle some guy from Mexico or Japan. I don't know yet. Do you know how bad that makes them look? I know it's funny to me as a fan, but it makes the company look minor league. Your biggest star knows this whole pay-per-view is a joke. Everything about it is a joke. The whole Forbidden Door concept was done because New Japan had stars that they wanted to wrestle their competition with. Guess where all those stars are now?
They're now sitting home being paid by AEW.
If they're not in AEW, they're jumping the ship for WWE. It's one or the other. New Japan is dead. There's nothing there to watch anymore. They're all gone. So that was the first step of this. I also figured out, did you notice this? Or is it, he said the crowd is dead? I thought the crowd was dead. That's what it sounded like to me. The crowd wasn't really into it.
When you've got a building that holds 7,000 people and there's only 2,000, maybe 1,900 people there, it's hard to get everybody excited.
Yeah, you're right.
When whole right side of when they walk down the ramp, the whole right side's empty. It's hard to get people excited. So,
not going to say
they don't make a lot of noise. They should pipe in crowd noise. That's what they should do. Do anything. Make it seem like you got a hot show.
You've mentioned this a couple of times about Okada not working out, and he called him out for it and said, you've got all this money, but you clearly don't have a membership to a gym, which I thought was another shot. I was like, damn, man, like he's taking real shots at these guys. You've read this on the internet. People have commented on this stuff. He's not working out. He doesn't look the part that he used to look in Japan. And MJF was just laying him out. But also,
I thought you meant, I'm sorry. I thought you meant Okada's just not working out. But turns out he's not working out, and he's not working out.
Yeah. So he's ripping him for that. And then Roosh came out and started his knot. Why is the biggest wrestling name in your company wrestling a guy that I had all but forgotten about until a couple of weeks ago, who comes out and his idea of cutting a promo is screaming as loud as he can into the microphone, "Yo, I got these people!" It's like, calm down, bro. You can get your point across without busting the microphone. Calm down.
He wants to be the second coming of Pampero Firpo. He's got the hair for it.
He does have the hair for it.
He does have the hair for it.
Then they have their altercation. I'm like, and this is the same guy, right, that we talked about a couple weeks ago that was just not selling for Moxley, and eventually he just really started kicking the shit out of him in the ring. It looked like.
Well, he tried to do a move on Moxley, and Moxley wouldn't go up for it. And he tried to do another move on Moxley. Moxley wouldn't go up for it. So he just decided to beat the shit out of Moxley.
God knows.
I mean, beat him. Beat the hell out of him. Moxley took it, though, because Moxley sort of likes that sort of thing.
You could hear when this segment was over with, everybody jumping ship because Orange Cassidy comes out next, and nobody wants to see this shit anymore. Nobody.
He got punched out by a woman.
Just awful. I took a couple of notes. I want to talk about this because Kyle O'Reilly, I've got to give my man Gil credit. Gil pointed out to me and said, I need you to look at his right arm because it looks like it's atrophying away. And I said, is it really?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it again. It really does look like his arm is starting to atrophy away. He doesn't look healthy, Bottles. And I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to hate on this guy. But there comes a point where you've got to say, this isn't healthy for me. Something bad can happen. My health is already not great. Why are you doing this to yourself? If you have a mind for the business, God knows the guy in the back needs some help. He looks as pale as a ghost to me, Bottles. The circles under his eyes. The right arm is tiny. You can tell it looks smaller. They've got it wrapped up to try to disguise it. He's got wires and shit going in there. He's got some sort of a juice going. I don't know if it's the diabetes thing or what it is.
It's a nerve stimulant implant that he had put in his arm because Kyle O'Reilly signed with AEW over a year ago. And right away, like 4 months in, one of the untrained goofs in AEW broke his neck. Broke his neck in a match. So he was out with a broken neck for almost a year, maybe a little over a year. And they said, you're done. Your career's over with. You're done. Because he had so much nerve damage in his cervical vertebrae in that area back there. It affected his right arm. So he goes in for a experimental implant that they put in his right arm. And they posted pictures. He posted pictures on Twitter. And maybe on TikTok also. I don't freaking know. I don't go on TikTok. Of him doing, getting range of motion back in his arm, doing the workouts and stuff with that thing attached. And he's a diabetic. And that's right away. That's not necessarily good if you're a professional wrestler or an athlete, depending upon how severe your diabetes is. He wears a diabetes monitor, a blood sugar monitor on his arm right under here. And that's what he had taped up.
See, that's what I thought I saw. That's what I thought it was. Okay.
Yes. So he didn't want that dislodged from his arm. Maybe he's having some blood sugar issues also on top of everything else. Okay. I know he needs, wrestling is also a cosmetic industry. The man needs to go and just rest, get a tan, maybe even just a spray tan, look like he's, healthy. He fancies himself as an MMA type shooter style wrestler, and he's just not anymore. He looks sickly, Bottles. He looks sickly. He looks bad. He looks bad. We always joked about when he finally came back from injury, he was doing promos and coming to the ring talking to Roderick Strong. We joked about, doesn't this guy own a clean shirt? Well, he comes to the ring in his glove box shirt. That's the T-shirt, the spare T-shirt you keep in your glove box in case you spill something down the T-shirt you're wearing. You spill hot sauce down the T-shirt you're wearing.
With you sometimes.
So he had his glove box shirt on, which was all wrinkled and mottled and everything else. He came to the ring. He looked like he'd been up all night long with Tony Khan doing the booger sugar. And he looked terrible. Bags under his eyes. Every time he saw him, dark circles. He looked very put upon. Kyle O'Reilly should take whatever money he made from the wrestling business and open up, I don't know, a convenience store.
I don't care what he does. I don't care what he does.
Get out of the business. Be a trainer if it comes down to it. Go back to NXT and be a trainer. That's what you should do.
I feel bad.
Because he's a good wrestler.
And it makes me feel bad for him because I'm not trying to shit on the guy. But I look, man, we joke and we clown around. I am genuinely concerned with this guy's long-term health at this point in time. and I don't want to see him out there anymore. This match was meaningless. Ray Phoenix won, which that should tell you just how meaningless it is. Ray Phoenix hasn't done shit in forever.
Why? Why these two guys? Why would you put these two guys together, Don? Why would you do it? If Kyle O'Reilly's got speculative health, if his health is speculous, why would you put him in the ring with a schmuck like Ray Phoenix who wrestles a dangerous style? I'll never understand it. Why wouldn't you put him in the ring with Orange Cassidy, or put him in the ring with AR Fox, or the great Rocky Romero, who deserved a title shot a week ago? Put him in a ring with those guys. They're fairly safe. Why would you put him in there with a luchador schmuck like Ray Phoenix? I don't
know. I can't. You're asking questions I cannot answer, Bottles. I cannot answer. I don't understand anything about this. And to make matters worse, we're still getting more of Trip Beretta coming out. He's got a chair. Orange Cassidy goes under the ring and there's magically a chain there, because that's what I think of when I think they're putting shit under the ring, as a chain. Who has a chain under the ring and for what purpose would it serve? I don't care. I'm not going to delve into it. Statlander comes out. Why? I asked again. She's in a completely different stable. This doesn't make any sense to me. She's not with him. She's in a different stable. Out comes Willow Nightingale and Seed. Here comes the shittiest part. And here we go. Do what?
Saving a man. Willow Nightingale against saving a man. Remember a month ago, she ran out to the ring to save Edge from a beatdown?
Yes.
By the House of Black. By the House of fucking Black. Willow Nightingale.
Out comes the first segment of the show that just was so bad and so cringy. And this is the only way I can put it. Chris Jericho officially has 1998 Jeff Jarrett go away heat. Not just with me, but even the AEW diehards are like, this isn't funny. It's not witty. It's not entertaining. It's just bad.
It's
bad,
not at all.
Bad.
Not funny whatsoever.
The whole, thanks, guys. Thanks. It's the shits. It is the worst garbage ever. Nothing about this. He's trying to tell the driver how to drive. Then he tells the cameraman how to operate a camera. All of this, the whole lot of it, stuck my left ass cheek, because I said there's no way they're going to keep doing this throughout the show, or I'm going to quit watching.
Oh, the worst.
How little did I know? There's nothing good about this, Bottles. There's nothing even remotely entertaining about this. It is just terrible, terrible wrestling. Just
he's horrible.
Awful, man.
And Chris Jericho, when he was in the WWE, I'm not saying that WWE is better than AEW. Though I'm not saying anything like that whatsoever. There are aspects of AEW that I like. This isn't one of them. When he was in WWE, doing the shtick with Kevin Owens and the list and all that, he was gold. Comedy gold. Fantastic stuff. Won matches. He looked good. He wasn't beat to hell like he looks now. He looks like a chewed up wad of bubble gum that was underneath the movie theater seat that just picked up all your girlfriend's hair. And then you put him in front of a mic stand to sing Guns N' Roses songs. That's what he looks like.
He looks like a walking cooch jacket to me. That's what he looks like to me. A walking cooch jacket. The chest, the weird belly, all of it. It all looks like a cooch jacket. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Not gooch. Cooch. Okay, gotcha.
Cooch, yes.
Gooch.
Then they come out, they announce that the ladder match is going to be at the pay-per-view. I'm sorry, Willow Nightingale had her moment.
You had a little nugget of suckitude with Jericho. You didn't even mention Low Plains Drifter, my new favorite wrestler.
Look, I don't know much about this guy, but I'll give him credit. He's putting everything he's got into this gimmick. He knows this is his one shot.
He does. You took the words right out of my mouth. Brian Keith knows this is it for him right now. This is the apex of his career, being with Chris Jericho.
You need to respect Chris Jericho. I was like, all right, look.
Right.
Everything about this segment sucks. At least that dude is playing the idiot goon to a T. And I don't think he's necessarily playing that part. I just think that's what the guy is. He's an idiot goof. Then we had the Willow Nightingale segment. It's not awful. She stammered a little bit in it, but I didn't care because you could tell it wasn't written. Willow's growing on me. I've liked her for a little while, but I'm growing on a little more. I think she's probably, and hear me out, she's the biggest female star in that company, Bottles, and I don't think there's any denying it. There's no way to deny it anymore. I know Toni Storm's big. Willow's got everybody pushing her now. The fans love her. The fans can't get enough of her. And I'm a big fan of her.
Are you saying Willow's not big? You said Willow is she's the big star. How do you mean
she's the big female star
in the company? She's the biggest female star. Is that how you mean that?
It is Sunday.
She's growing on me like powdered sugar on a jelly donut.
You take it however you want, pal. Out came the announcement for the ladder match.
I would want Willow Nightingale to come out and smack somebody for me and defend me if I'm in a beat down at the Waffle House.
By the way, everybody, thank you all for watching tonight. Please like and subscribe. Pushing for 800. Tell your friends, tell your family. Super chats are open if you've got something to say. I'm excited about this next part. No, I'm not. Mark Briscoe came out versus the who was it he was wrestling? HGH Bottle. He was wrestling the HGH Bottle.
Brian Cage.
HGH Bottle. That's his new name.
HGH Bottle. Yes. Yes. It's either ape semen or horse semen he's shooting himself up with. I don't know what it is. That guy looks like if he put his hands up over his head, his armpits would explode. He's so defined and tight. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Look, people like him. I'm not a big fan of his. Right now, he's the most muscle-headed jobber I've ever seen in my life. The dude looks like $1 million. I'm not taking anything away from him. He clearly works his ass off, but he jobs to everybody. And I like Mark Briscoe. They should have used him when his brother was alive. God rest in peace, because that was one of the most unique tag teams that we've had in the past 15 years in pro wrestling.
I noticed one thing when I saw Cage versus Briscoe. Cage is not a big man. He's not a tall guy. No, he's
not tall. He's not.
I think that's hurting his career.
He's probably 5'9", 5'10", and 240.
He needs to get lifts in his boots if he doesn't have them already. Talk to Jericho. He needs to go to the learning tree with Jericho. How do you wrestle in lifts, Chris? I'm glad you asked, friend.
Slowly. Thanks, guys. That's going to be the next shit. Out came Joe and Hook promo. All right. Did you see the Joe and Hook promo? I got to ask, man, because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Why does Hook have to eat the chips every time he's doing a promo or he's on TV? Why? It's not cool. It doesn't put you over. It doesn't make you look like the guy. You look like a dickwad. I'm going to sit here and eat some Funyuns. If you were eating chips right now on our show, I'd cuss you like a goober. I would tell you you're being unprofessional. No wrestler in the history of the shows that I've ever watched. You've watched more. Well, we probably watched about the same. I know you've watched a bunch. Neither one of us has ever seen a guy eating chips when they come out.
No.
Help me out here. What the hell was I watching?
It looked like a ABC after-school special skit. That's what it looked like to me. It looked terrible.
And who are the guys that came out to start shit with them? I don't even know who these guys were, Bottles.
I have no idea. It was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I mean, how long does he have left on his contract? How long?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Do you know?
I have no idea. I know it's due because his father even told him to go to NXT and sign with them. So his contract's coming up. He already told them he's not going to re-sign.
I need you to help me out because we are on two different sides of the fence on this, okay? And I really do need your help here. I don't get Hook. I don't get it. He's 150 pounds soaking wet. He's got a hair flop and he eats Funyuns. What am I missing with this kid?
He got over when CM Punk was in the company and he was fighting with the Taz group. I guess I forgot what the name of that was. I'll just call them the FOT, the Friends of Taz. And he told Taz and company, send anybody, send a go-go, send Hook. And everyone started laughing. And Hook was just their gopher at the time. But he actually, I believe he wrestled Hook. If I'm not mistaken, he really did wrestle Hook. And he's doing his father's suplexes, which I'm sure his father taught him how to do. And he was just like a high school collegiate slacker is basically what his gimmick is. And all the young girls think is cool. The young girls like Hook at the time, so he got a push. I'm sure a lot of that was dependent upon his father behind the scenes, helping him out.
So you think it's politically motivated, a lot of it?
Yes, I think so too.
You know what I can't buy when he gets in the ring? And look, I might like Hook eventually, but here's what I can't deal with right now. You can't suplex everybody when you're that small. I'm just not going to buy it. I'm sorry. I could buy Taz to a point because he looked like a big, thick, muscular guy. I could buy that. Brock Lesnar throws guys. I wouldn't even say he suplexes guys. When Hook does it, I'm always biting my nails wondering if he's going to drop this poor asshole on his head every time. Are you going to drop him on his head? So that's all I took out of that. I don't get it. And then Bottles, I need you to focus on me here. Me here, right? Me, you. Why is Jericho's second segment even worse than the first one? I thought it couldn't get any worse. And here we go again. He's talking about a baby. He's talking about a child and all kinds of nonsense gobbledygook. What the shit was this second part?
It's obvious that he's writing his own stuff. And it's not getting over. MJF getting tired of him. His whole gimmick is bashing WWE, burying AEW baby faces, and saying bad words. In the Fed, he'd be a mid-carder. Thank you for the $4.99, Billy Scranton. And do you agree with that? If he was in WWE, he would be a mid-carder.
I think they'd have to present him a little bit different than they do everybody else, because the truth is, he'd have to clean his promos up. He can't come out there talking the way he does. That's for sure. And there's something to be said for every now and then losing your temper and giving somebody a you son of a bitch moment. But he does it every time now that he's on the microphone. He's not overly tall. He's got a great muscular build. I think, and hear me out, because you and I had this discussion 6 months ago or so, maybe 5 or 4 at this point in time. LA Knight is a mid-card wrestler that's super over. He just is. That's what he is. If MJF came to the WWE, that would be a meshing. That would be perfect. You've got two great, and there's nothing wrong with being a great mid-carder. You'd have two great mid-card guys. And I think Billy's right. I think eventually he might get over to the top, but he's in the land of the small people. And you go to the WWE, you are in the land of the giants. That's why guys that are smaller don't typically get over. Randy Orton is 6'4", 6'5", but he's a monster now. He's jacked to the gills. Drew McIntyre, 6'5", 6'6", somewhere in that area. He's a large human being. There are large. Cody Rhodes is not an overly small wrestler. Since he's gotten there, you could tell, hey, he's gotten some more muscle mass. He's a little bit bigger than he used to be. I'm a little bit bigger than I used to be because I'm alive. Anyway, look, appreciate it, Billy. Thank you very much for the $4.99. I tend to agree with you on here. And yes, burying the baby faces. That's the other part. That's what he's been doing. He's been bashing WWE for far too long. Like, you've got to come out of that shtick. CM Punk is the same beat that we've got with him. Would you agree, Bottles? Like, that's the same issue that we have when CM Punk cuts to promo, correct? Is that he comes out there and he wants to talk shit and he wants to say things about AEW here and there. That's the only thing that he doesn't need to do. You're already over Punk. You don't need to add that to your repertoire. Do something else. Concentrate on this. And I agree. MJF's got to get a little bit fresher. Got to stay away from the WWE bashing, in my opinion.
I think so too. But everybody, they got to mention WWE at least twice a show.
They do. You're right.
They do.
But I haven't heard you mention, though, this Jericho second segment. I need you to tell me something here. What am I missing? It's bad.
Like I said, when he was in WWE, he had people help write those skits for him. The list of Jericho and all other crap. He had guys who would help him do that. One of the guys that helped him write the list of Jericho, I believe, was Dewey Foley, who is Mick Foley's son when he was on the writing team. in WWE. He's no longer there now. He's been gone for quite a few years. And well, so has Jericho, been gone for quite a few years. But that's what he was, the last vestiges of him being super over with the list and pairing with Owens, two Canadians. They were a great team. They played off of each other well.
That was so
now
good.
he's writing his own stuff. They have no writers there except for the woman that writes for Mercedes Moné, Jennifer Peppermint, a former WWE writer who used to write for Mercedes Moné. So they've got nobody else writing Jericho's stuff but him, and he thinks he's some guru of great ideas. And he does come up with great ideas, the germination, the germs for the seed, if you will, for the great ideas. But he doesn't really know how to carry them out to their fullest. And that's what we're seeing right now. And Big Bill is probably saying, Tony, please call Enzo Amore, please. Please call Enzo Amore. Please call Enzo. Call Enzo Amore. I have no idea why Enzo Amore has not been hired by AEW. It just boggles my mind.
Yes, you do.
What?
Yes, you do. Because he's an asshole. That guy is just an asshole, Bottles. Look,
like they don't have a locker room full of assholes.
No, this guy is especially dickheadish. Like, that's just what he is. Mm-hmm. Especially over the top, over the mountain, Peckerwood dickhead. That's what he is. There's no way of getting around it. The one part about this segment that got me again, I'm going to tell you, your boy Load Plains Drifter said, you make sure that baby respects Chris Jericho. Everything Jericho is doing in this sucks, and everything Low Plains is doing as a goof is getting over. That shit pop, I was like, he's saying nothing, but what he does, it's gold because he's an idiot.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. And Low Plains Drifter has found his walnut. He really has.
I also want to say thank you all again for watching tonight. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notifications button. Spread the word. We are the fan of wrestling. We don't pretend to spread lies and news. We don't try to break it. We just want to have a good time, have a few drinks, and talk about what we liked.
Folks, if you're ever in the Texas area, I want you to go and check out Matthew Long Ministries. Please check out Matthew Long Ministries. He's a great-looking guy. It looks like his mother and father were first cousins, and he's got the haircut of a mental patient. Check out Matthew Long Ministries, folks. Look him up online. He's a real handsome devil.
What are you talking about right now? What are you doing? What are you talking about? Who's Matthew Ministries?
Somebody in the chat room said less bottles. So they
stop worrying about the chat. Show. Stop worrying about the chat room.
Me? Stop worrying about the chat?
Stop.
The guy who reads the chat room 24/7?
Stop worrying about the chat. I'm moving on to the Acclaim because they came out next.
Like Block Larry says, how many assholes we've got on this ship?
Super chats are open. Anyway, the Acclaim came out next. The EVPs cut them off. So they're clearly going for something here, right? Like it's the Acclaim and it's the EVPs. It's going on now. This is going down the pike. This is what's going to happen. We're going to get this whether we all want it or not. And there's no way I can see the EVPs getting anything out of this other than a win. They're not going to put the Acclaimed over. The Acclaimed have lost all their mojo. There's nothing there to like about that team. There's nothing there to even push them anymore. He came out with his rap. Hey, listen, that shit's over. I'm done with the whole thing. I'm done with the EVPs. I'm moving on because this is just, it's nothing to watch, man. It's the worst.
Why would they want to feud with the Acclaimed?
I don't know, man.
Why? If you see Max Caster's Twitter account, you would just say to this guy, look, dude, you need to stop tweeting. You need to stop tweeting. You certainly get nuclear heat on Twitter.
Hold on. Do you think it's really him?
Yes, it's really him. He's trying to get some kind of, they weren't using him. They were relegated to Rampage or relegated to Collision every once in a while, once a month. And he just decided to try to stir up some interest, stir up some controversy. And that's why they're back on TV right now, all three of them. They're horrible. They were the most overact, one of the most overacts when they first came in, but the whole act's stale. It's over. It's done.
It's trash is what it is.
It's trash.
And look, the Bucks are worse, man. Just go away.
If he came to the ring rapping and he didn't forget the raps twice, maybe 3 times on live TV, he lost his place, forgot what he was going to say, and brain fog. And everybody started booing him. And they stopped using him after that.
Anyway, then we got the Swerve promo, which I didn't hate. It was a good promo for him. It wasn't terrible. Right. It wasn't embarrassing. It was pretty good. And he said, "Oh, MJF, welcome back, you little bitch." Got me. I said, okay. Hey, you're the world champion. You should be calling out guys that talk shit about you. I enjoyed that part. I thought that was great. Mad respect for that. I enjoyed it. Then we got the Monet segment, and I wrote down, this is very WWE-esque. This was a very WWE-esque throwback. It was done well. They put some real production into it. I wasn't overly hateful of it. I thought it was pretty good. What did you think of it?
I agree with you. Very WWE-ish because of the WWE writer, the ex-WWE writer who wrote the stuff. That's why it all falls into place. And that's what she's familiar with doing, Mercedes Moné. So it is what it is. I found out with that match at Forbidden Door where she's got the TBS championship. Stephanie Lacker, whatever her name is, she's got the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Style belt, Women's Strong Style belt. And only that belt is up for grabs, not the TBS belt. So you know who's going to get that belt from Stephanie Lacker, a CMLL talent. Spanish girl with a Japanese belt. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
makes all the sense in the world. Why not? Then we got the Danielson BBC versus a bunch of dudes. I don't know. Who the hell were these guys? This is the shit they do that doesn't make any sense as a company. I don't know any of these guys they were wrestling. And did you notice this? Because I want to make sure I take a note about this. I said, is this a goddamn tag team match? Because the entire BBC, whatever you want to call them, the BPC, what the hell is the Blackpool Combat Club? I keep saying BBC. Somebody's got to have a good time with that one. The BPCC. They were all sitting on the floor. No one's on the ring apron. They're all playing Johnny Jerk around. Here comes Ass Clown 1 that I don't know. Here comes Danielson. This made no sense. None of this shit made any sense. It was terrible. Sorry if I'm getting loud, but I watched this going, why is this a thing? Why am I being subjugated to this shit?
Moxley is wrestling in Japan this weekend. Moxley, I'm sure, wanted to be off of Dynamite, fly to Japan, check into his hotel room, have a nice rest because he's going to be jet lagged because of the time differential, and then be ready for his match this weekend for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Because he's got their belt. Tony Khan called everybody up and said, I need you here. I need you here.
And just to clarify, this is what you read, correct?
I heard this from Brian Alvarez on the Wrestling Observer podcast on YouTube. He said that he was called in. They were all called in. And he called CMLL and said, send 4 of your guys up. This is what we're doing. And hey, they probably would like the payday, but you've got 4 guys who speak one language and 4 guys who speak another language. They had to have an interpreter in the dressing room to help them go over the match and plan it out what they were going to do. And it shows. It was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. It did no one any favors whatsoever. It was a match that you didn't need to have. You didn't need to have this match whatsoever. The Blackpool Combat Club didn't need the fight, all 4 of them at the same time. Wheeler Yuta is coming back. Almost called him.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh, my God.
What are you laughing about?
Uterus.
I almost called him Wheeler Uterus. I did. You caught me. I was hoping you wouldn't pick that up. Wheeler Uterus. I'll say Uterus.
Shit,
I'm referring to him as Wheeler Uterus from now on. Wheeler Uterus came back from injury, a bad concussion injury, I believe it was. He's been out for like 5 months, and They just announced him coming back for this bullshit match instead of a solo match, a singles match he should have had. Or maybe it's a match tagging with Bryan Danielson. Not all four of these schmucks. I don't know what the purpose of this is, but Tony Khan says he's booking for sickos, just like him. And this match made me sick. I almost threw up my Hot Pockets. It just made me drink more heavier. I had to go make myself 2 drinks instead of 1. And bring it back to the
Bottles, I got to tip my hat. You just gave him a new name. It's Wheeler Uterus.
Wheeler Uterus.
Holy shit. Dude. That was great.
Fuck
oh, I'm
guy.
glad.
No offense.
I'm glad you made me laugh because this is.
Well, pal, I got pissed off, pal. Matthew Long Ministries. I'll give him another plug. Matthew Long Ministries.
Stop. Stop.
No.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Do you have any idea how many neckbeards I got to deal with on a daily basis? I feel bad for Metalhead. Dude commented on one damn tweet of mine, and they all came flooding in. I was like, dude, this is why I'm the neckbeard psychologist. This is where they come from. They don't stop.
All I can say is the last thing I'm going to say about it. I've had a run-in with this guy once before, and I didn't like the cut of his jib. And I didn't say anything to him. Didn't say a word. I let it go. And now
we're moving on.
I'm fucking saying something. So it is what it is. That's right.
Because this next segment made me move on, Bottles. I turned the channel and never went back after this. I had to go back today to catch up on what I missed out on. Chris Jericho had a third segment. His next thing that he's the expert on is catering. And I said, perfect.
This put me over the edge.
I'm done now. I don't need to watch this shit anymore. I don't want to see it anymore. This show can go to hell. I never want to watch another moment of this show starting right now. I don't want to see it anymore. Click. He was telling a guy how to scoop food from a trough into a bowl. Why is Chris Jericho being allowed? This is what I have heard, and this is what I've read. This is the shit he wanted to do in WWE, but the creative team had to guide his back inside the ropes and say, no, 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 no. That shit is stupid. Don't do that. Here's what you need to do. And it's showing every time you put this asshole in front of a microphone and a camera. It's just... When I say go away heat, Jeff Jarrett, 1998, folks, if you weren't watching wrestling back then, there's heat, and then there's this thing called go away heat. Go away heat is when you don't want to see this guy, and it makes you change the channel. It's not that it's...
I don't, not to hate to interrupt you. It's when you go, oh, shit, not this again. It's not like, I hate that guy, that son of a bitch. You just say,
it's I want to see what's going on ESPN or God knows whatever other channel. I don't want to see this on my TV. And I turned the shit off. I said, no, I'm not watching this anymore. And then you said, well, we'll do a show Sunday. Because, by the way, we had a guest on Thursday. If you don't watch The Great Crowbar, great interview. I would highly recommend going back and watching that episode if you have not. The guy's been wrestling for 30 plus years, 33 and a half, I believe now. He is a down-to-earth dude, very cool. Enjoyed really having him on the program. I talked to him again in a heartbeat. He had a good time, I think, or that's what he said. Follow him on Twitter, Crowbar on X. It's an amazing dude. He still does his gimmick. He's great.
At WCW Crowbar, all lowercase, on the Twitter X, the Twix. Great guy. Great guy. He said, this is so laid back. I've never been on a podcast this laid back before. I love the vibe, he said before we went on the air. I said, we're just a couple of guys sitting around shooting the shit, having a couple of cocktails, talking about wrestling. That's all we do.
And then I had to go back.
And you know what he said? You know what he said?
You know what he said? I got
he kids. Said he said less bottles. That's what he said. Less bottles.
Move on. Move on.
Pal, I hold a grudge, pal. I hold a grudge.
Jesus Christ on a pony.
I've been married 3 times, pal. I hold a grudge. Go ahead.
Then they had Daniel Garcia. And
yes,
I said this I said this a couple of weeks ago. I stand by it. You cannot tell me you're a serious wrestler now when your entire gimmick has been a goofy ass dance for the past year. I'm sorry. That's like me taking Doink the Clown as the next world heavyweight champion. You are a clown show. You're a skit. You're a goober. You're a dweeb. I cannot take anything you do seriously as a wrestler.
Get me Playboy Bobby Starr.
Why are you calling him? Oh, Doink the Clown. Okay.
Doink the Clown. You see, you can't take Doink the Clown seriously. Doink the Clown.
I'm telling you, I can't take him seriously. Everything about this guy offends me. The dancing bullshit, the ha-ha grab ass he plays. Nothing of. Can you take him seriously now?
Let me ask you a question. He's a good talent. He's a good wrestler. I've said that. He's got no charisma. But what would you do to improve Daniel Garcia, Don? Play Booker for a minute. Booker for 60 seconds. How would you improve Daniel Garcia?
You can't, Bottles. You job his ass out for the last 2 years of his contract and send his ass out the door. You cannot take a guy like this seriously as a wrestler when he's humping the air as his move. I'm done.
And
he's like a 3-year-old puppy just humping the air wherever he goes.
Have you seen that gimmick where he puts the guy on the top turnbuckle and he climbs up and stands in front of him and throws his pelvis in his face?
Yeah.
I would rehab Daniel Garcia by having someone beating up Kyle O'Reilly within an inch of his life, or someone who's a fan favorite, getting like MJF, have it like a whole squad of goons beating up MJF, and have one lone guy come out and try to turn the tide with a baseball bat, and that guy would be Daniel Garcia. I wouldn't want to see him every week, but see him come out and try to. I mean, what else can you do with the kid besides fire him? What else can you do? Or just have him be a jobber?
That's what he is. He is a jobber. That's what he is now. And I job his ass all the way out the door, all the way to his next contract with TNA or whoever, because I don't want this shit on my wrestling product anymore. I don't want the goofy dance guy suddenly becoming serious. You're going to tell me this guy's serious now, humping the air like a 3-year-old puppy, just No, I'm done. Get off my TV. You're less than Chris Jericho. You matter nothing.
Dude, there are guys in that company right now that would kill for the TV time. Look at Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian, who you have no idea who that person is.
Yeah,
Kip Sabian, you do?
Yeah.
Kip Sabian with the the highlights in his hair and the eyeliner and the lipstick and the mustache. Married Penelope Ford, great female valet. Not that much of a wrestler, but she was a great female valet. Former girlfriend of Joey Janela, by the way, the great Joey Janela. And somebody in the chat room says she's fine. She certainly is fine. And I had to go and mention that. But anyway, that guy can't get arrested. He can't even get on TV. Neither can Penelope Ford. I just, the people that they have sitting on the sidelines, this is just another example of, or a reason for Tony Khan to split the rosters. Put half of these schmucks on Collision. Or Rampage. Nobody's watching anyway. Hire a writer for Rampage. Hire a writer for Dynamite. Hire a separate writer for Collision. And let them have all their own storylines and just have the main eventers go back and forth across all 3 shows. And no, the Blackpool Combat Club are not main eventers, despite the fact that Jon Moxley thinks he is.
I would take the Friday show and bury it in my backyard. Never show another episode. I would take the Saturday show and move it to Sundays at 7:00 and have an hour-and-a-half show, and that's all it would be. That's it.
Well, Warner Brothers Discovery said, we'd like to take the Rampage show and bury it out in the backyard of Don Wayne. That's what they said.
Plenty of room.
Because they do not.
Plenty of plots available.
They said they don't want Rampage anymore, and they only want an hour-long Collision show on Saturdays, and they want a 3-hour Dynamite. They were talking about having it on Mondays.
Yeah.
Which is a recipe.
The worst idea. Terrible idea. Which, by the way, if you know anything about Don Wayne, I do have plenty of ex-Broncos out here. Buried them all. Denver Broncos. So come on by. See them. Then we got
the Magic Windows.
Through the Magic Windows. Then we got Christian Cage talking to the Meat Munchers. So now we have this collaborative effort. The Meat Munchers and Christian Cage's faction. They're going to work together to make sure that he gets the title belt. Because he's fighting for the title. I don't know why. I don't give a shit. This next part, I said,
What title? The heavyweight championship? Swerve's belt?
Yeah. He's still in contention for this thing, I think.
I thought Ospreay was fighting Swerve for the belt.
He is, but I think he's still in contention for this shit. Like, that's where it's going, is they're trying to take over the company. So I don't know. That's what I mean. The booking this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Three-way. Christian Cage, Ospreay. Well, they would pin Christian Cage and not have Swerve look bad or have Ospreay look bad by getting pinned by anybody. They would pin Christian. He would take the pin. And Swerve would still, he would lose his belt, but still retain his mid-card aura because he's a mid-card guy. I hate to say it, but the booking did not, he doesn't deserve the booking that he gets. He could be, Mr. Eyeliner could be so much more than what he is right now. I think he wears eyeshadow too. I'm not sure.
I just want to choke everything.
I would love to see a beer truck drive through one of the walls of that arena and just have Steve Austin come out and hose the whole place down. God knows some of those fans could use a nice shower.
Your girl, Toni Storm, came out. We had the Saraya Maria May match. Were they having audio issues at this point in time? Because it sure as hell sounded like
it was going out. It was going out here and there. Probably somebody was chanting something bad, like "Show me your tits," "nice ass," things like that. They frown on that, even though they wear outfits. They're encouraged to wear outfits to show their cake, as the kids say. Show your cake.
Okay. Maybe it was just me, and maybe she's just a really good wrestler. But Saraya DDT'd Mariah May on her head, and it looked like she dropped her straight the hell on her head. And it looked like she tucked it, and she ate shit when this happened. Did you notice that?
I would say they're both good wrestlers, female wrestlers. You notice Saraya hardly took a bump.
Not at all. Was not.
Not at all. Harley took a bump. I think she's not feeling good. I think that body's a little worse for wear. Rumor has it the contract is up in August for Saraya, whatever you want to call her. She came to the ring with her brother and Harley Cameron. And her brother, what a nepotism hire that was. I haven't seen the guy do anything in the ring. He's probably on Rampage Wrestling. You're familiar with her brother, Zach?
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that guy.
Okay. Moving on. Moving on.
This thing ended with Saraya getting the win, which apparently set off the IWC dorks left and right. They couldn't believe this happened. Shirakaba, is that her name? Shirakaba?
What's that?
Tits McGee came out.
Tits McGee.
And we got
Yakamoto. Tits Yakamoto.
We got a motorboat segment at the end of this match.
Why not? Why not?
That's
where the best wrestle, Don. The best wrestle there.
I just want to say this because
HLA.
You had a kissing segment on Raw a couple of weeks ago that had the AEW neckbeards in an uproar. That's sexual harassment. You can't do that in today's day and age. They were okay with the motorboat action, though.
They were.
Explain the mindset of these dorks.
They like watching women make out and have sex, but they don't like men and women having sex or making out because they've never done that themselves. That's why. Those two women doing that on AEW TV is some of their greatest fantasies that they have while they're sitting in the basement, naked from the waist down, on a plastic sheet on the floor with a gallon of Jergens and a gallon of Mountain Dew and some Cheetos.
This was
not a pretty
horrible.
Picture.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe. Please hit that notifications button. We are going to keep rolling with the show. Super chats are open if you want to talk about Tits McGee or anything else we've covered tonight.
Nips Mac Yakamoto. That's my new name for Mina Shirakawa. Nips Yakamoto.
Jericho has another fourth awful segment with Private Party. And God help me. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I can't. It's just the dirt worst.
If you like this segment with Private Party, you're going to have more of that on Wednesday because they're doing the learning tree again on Wednesday on Dynamite, and his special guests are Private Party. It's already been announced.
Then I started fast forwarding bottles, and I couldn't do this anymore. Bryan Danielson had a promo. It was okay. You had the last match of the night, by the way. the championship Swerve versus Kyle or not Kyle, who?
Roderick Strong.
I don't give a shit. I fast forwarded to the end. Guess what? They ran long and my DVR cut off and I said, good. I don't give a shit because we all know who's going to win this match anyway.
It ended abruptly. I think the timing issues were there. All of a sudden, boom, the match was over. I'm like, what? What'd I miss? What happened?
So Swerve won.
Blink of an eye. Swerve won. Of course.
So they ran long. They clearly ran long. Yes. If they did it that way.
Yes. The rep probably said, we got 1 minute of TV time. I'll go to the finish. God damn it. Tony said so. Show was over. And on Rampage Friday night, this is what you missed, Don. If you like Chris Jericho and the Learning Tree, he came out the commentary and he told Matt Menard, Waterhead Matt Menard, who used to be paired up with Cool Hand Ang or Ange or whatever his name is. You called him Ang, another Japanese guy. He walked out and told that kid the right way to do commentary. He said he's been doing it for years. This is how you should do it. This is what a commentator does.
Shitty segment brought to you by
shitty segment. Tony Schiavone is just, he probably calls his wife up and says, was the check deposited? It was. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad to be here, Taz. This is the greatest night in the history of our sport. Tony Schiavone looks like he's ready to slash his wrists.
The fucking chat.
The fucking chat room. You tell me not to look at the chat room.
I'm not reading them, but I can still laugh.
God, you're not reading them. Now, what's making you laugh? I know
said
exactly.
You could still read. I said you could read them and laugh, but golly, Moses. Which brings me to my next point. A lot of you guys have been watching us for a long time and have supported us, and I just want to take a moment to thank all of you that are here tonight, especially everybody in the chat room. Thank you all so very much. If you don't follow us on Twitter, come take a look at us. I am Don Wayne at Busted Move. He is Johnny Bottles. It's not hard to find us.
Don't take a look at me.
Just come around and find out whoever's fighting with the local neckbeards, and you'll see one of us, I'm sure. But I want to take a minute and thank a lot of these guys. Larry, Jason Gill, Motorhead, J-Sig, Media Boy, UK on X. You can follow them all on X. Mike Digital, thank you for the photos and the music. Ron, Roger, TD Nash, Greg F., thank you, brother. Vinny, Marky Mark, Scud, Patrick Pucci, our comrade Vlad, Dwayne Harris, All-American Headbanger, who was the guy that got into it with some folks with me. Scud again, Chris, Brian Dudick, Michael Costello, Loud Marlins fan, Best Ball Jonesy, Michael, NWA Florida, James Co., Nike 23, Brian Charvel, and I'd like to thank my wife because she has been she's been the best about this whole thing. She's really stood behind me. I just want to say thank her. She's the biggest fan. She supports everything we do. I just want to take a minute and acknowledge everybody that's really helped us out. We're trying to get to 800 subs. We're pushing hard. Thank you all so much for everything because we've still got a couple of things I want to talk about with you.
Well, we left out a few people that are here in the chat room tonight. Let's do Denisha Lane. That's a new subscriber, new to the channel. God bless you. Thank you for putting up with us. Let's go down to John,
Gray Goose,
Challenger John, MK Osborne. Thank you guys for coming all the time. We did Greg F. Let's go to JP Fawn. JP Fawn. Hey, thanks for coming up. Thanks for showing up, pal, and supporting the channel. And the great Jim Ross, Gray Goose, is here. Great. Philip Brown. I've never seen his name in here, but he agrees with us, saying that Dynamite is the worst show in professional wrestling right now. Bone Collector's here. God bless you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being in the chat. Scrolling down some more there, buddy. Pablo. I saw Pablo in here earlier. Thank you for being here. Jason Gonzalez. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for the Bone Collector. Bone Collector. Thanks for being here. He's been
Sean's back. I see Sean's in.
Let's see.
And by the way, if you would like to join the online, hit up Motorhead. He's the guy. We've got a little club. Hashtag SCM, Squared Circle Maniacs Podcast. That's what we do.
Warrior JWR. And Alexander Ars. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. If that's indeed your last name and not an alias that you go by to hide on the internet. Alexander Ars, great guy. He's always here. Did you mention Chris Stikelether?
I did not. I thought you would.
Okay, I'll mention Chris Stikelether. He was here from the beginning. Castellar Daniel Garcia. Thanks for being here tonight. Appreciate that. As I keep on scrolling, bear with me, peoples.
I got a couple more. Mr. T and Humble, thank you guys for tuning in all the time. I know you're here tonight. And I've got the beer, man.
The beer man.
Going. Have you watched?
Man. Look up cleaning towels on Twitter.
Yes.
The cleaning towels account on Twitter. It's always fun watching the beer man.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Did you watch Who Killed WCW, the first episode yet?
I have not watched that yet, Don. I'm sorry.
I want to. Well, I'm gonna walk you through this because this was
I gotta
one
watch
of those
tomorrow.
things. This is one of those things where I couldn't believe it. They started off with, if you were to give WCW a eulogy, what would you say? So they're all saying their parts and they're all doing this and that. And Kevin Nash says, thanks for the cash. Bret Hart, being the great, overly competitive guy that he is, says, go fuck yourself. Bret Hart is a class act, ladies and gentlemen. Billy says, great show. Thank you very much, Billy. We really appreciate it. Are you going to give NXT a try tonight? I actually am, Billy.
Yes, we are.
I'm actually excited about this. I'm going to make sure we get the hell out of here at 8 o'clock. I'm going to make sure we get through this. But I am actually excited about this. I can't wait to watch what's going on. I know a little bit about it because I do watch from time to time as far as the highlights, but I'm not a diehard. Look, guys, I'm going to tell you right now. Bottles and I have to watch a lot of wrestling as it is. If I told my wife she had to watch a Tuesday show, the doghouse that I would have to sleep in would be next to the graves in my backyard. I can guarantee it. She would get me a blanket and a pillow and say, the doghouse is now yours. And I'd be sleeping out there. So, yeah, I'm going to watch it tonight, though, because I'm excited. It's a big deal. It's been going on for a while. They've been building this up. I'm super excited. I know Bottles is.
Yes. New North American Women's Championship tonight, Don. That's equivalent to the WWE busting out a women's U.S. title. So they're having I believe it's a 6-woman match tonight.
Okay.
All their up-and-comers in the women's division are going to be in this match. I know Louisiana Larry, Block Larry is going to be loving watching this tonight. The Women's North American Championship 6-woman match, because Larry's such a big fan of women's wrestling. Love you, Larry. Love you, Larry.
So part one of this Who Killed WCW part goes on, right?
I'm watching the chat for a Larry quote. Nothing.
And they're talking about everybody that was involved in the death of WCW, and they're going down how all this shit came to be with the Kevin Nash coming back. You know, they start jumping back and forth a lot. But to our credit, we had one of the guys on the show. He was in this show, and we interviewed him back in, I want to say, August. Care to take a bet on who that was?
That was Guy Evans, the author of the book Nitro, The Death of WCW.
Guy Evans wrote a book called The Death of WCW. And if you read the book and you listen to the interview, you will understand that anybody trying to point a singular finger at somebody on what killed WCW is a thankless task. You are never going to get there. It wasn't a single person or problem or a finger poke of doom. The truth is, the executives wanted this show dead. They didn't want to have it on the books. They did everything they could to write it off. They did everything they could to sabotage their own program. They were making money and started writing off all the losses on all the TBS and all the TNT shows directly onto Nitro. So just a little bit of a caveat. I can see where this show is going. I don't want to get too far in the weeds on this because of what it was. But the first episode was essentially like, blame Hogan. Blame Hulk Hogan. That's who we'll point the fucking finger at. That's the guy we should blame. not the fact that his group, the NWO, was the biggest changing force in the history of professional wrestling, bar none. It picked WCW up off the floor and said, we are back, and the WWE, because of it, had to get better. So everybody trying to blame Eric and trying to blame Hogan, and I'm getting the real sneaking suspicion that each week they're going to try to show somebody else is the reason they fell. This was a collaborative effort. Bad booking, bad contracts, executives with their heads up their asses. That's why all of this shit went down in fucking flames. It has got nothing to do with one company, one man, or one person. They were trying to merge with Time Warner and become a huge, or AOL was trying to merge with TNT, AOL and Time Warner were merging. That's what this all came from. Time Warner thought they were going to get the outside the box thinking of AOL, and AOL thought they were going to get the distribution services of Time Warner. And when they met in the middle, it went to shit because AOL wanted all the power and didn't give a shit about giving them any kind of creative ideas. And if you read the book, you'll see that. So, spoiler alert, this is a hit job by The Rock, and it's not going anywhere.
I like to know what skin The Rock's got in this game, where he's just decided, let's do a 6-episode series shitting all over WCW. What would be his motivation for doing this? He wants a slice of the dark side of the ring audience, which is minuscule, actually.
Oh, it is.
It's the biggest thing on. Yes, it's the biggest thing on Vice TV.
I don't know what his issue is. Clearly, he's got an axe to grind, though, it seems. Like, why would you?
It seems that way.
It seems like every 5 years, this shit comes up again. Every 5 years. And here we are again. 5 years later, we got this. And another 5 years, we'll have another show.
And no Hulk Hogan on the show being interviewed. No Ric Flair. And those guys were the WCW guys at the time.
The guys, the top stars.
The guys. Right. Right. Flair was WCW from day one. Even back when it was Crockett's NWA. He was that guy. He was always there. Except for that brief 1-year sabbatical he pulled in WWE or WWF at the time. But no Flair. Flair took exception to it that he wasn't interviewed. He made a statement on Twitter. I think he deleted it, if I'm not mistaken. Nothing from Hogan. Hogan didn't mention anything about it. Of course, I think they badmouthed Hogan a little bit on the show.
They were blaming Hogan for the closing of the doors. Everybody, this entire first show was a hit piece on Hogan. He's why they failed. He's why they went down. It was just complete nonsense. You can't blame one person for the downfall of WCW. It was a mitigating bunch of factors. It really was. And if you read the book, you'll see.
The only thing you can blame Hogan for is so-and-so did get a push because Hogan didn't want to go ahead and give the guy time or a job to him or whatever. And even Hogan, didn't he say, hey, I jobbed the Kidman. I do jobs.
Yeah.
Remember when Kidman beat him?
He also jobbed out to Roddy Piper, who then they had a bet where Razor Ramon, I think, slapped no, it was Kevin Nash slapped the shit out of Roddy Piper because Roddy Piper wouldn't return the favor like a day later. And Razor Ramon said, you call yourself a man, he just put you over on a pay-per-view. And you can't go out there and do a dirty job for him. Like that's who you are. And time goes on and something else happened. Next thing you know, Kevin Nash is smacking the shit out of Roddy Piper. I love Roddy Piper, but face it, that dude didn't want a job to anybody. I think I saw him do a clean job once, and that was to Bret Hart at the 92 Survivor Series or SummerSlam or Survivor Series. One or the other, I can't remember. I want to say it was 91 or 92. Anyway,
the guy was a star. And what do you do to preserve your stardom? What do you do to preserve your worth in the business? If you're jobbing or live television at the height of the wrestling wars, where do you go when you leave WCW? What's your worth? Are you devalued? Are you still valuable as a legend, as a star? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I did want to talk about one other part real quick. We got SmackDown to cover, and I'm going to cover that fast. But I want to talk about Rush. Is it Rush? Rush, right?
Who?
What the hell?
The guy from AEW?
No,
The Hearns? That's Rush.
What the hell is his name? See, this is how
Ricochet.
bad it is. Ricochet. They all start with an R and it ends with them flipping. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Ricochet has informed WWE reportedly that he will not be extending his contract at the end of the summer. It has been verified by multiple accounts. It has been said this is going to happen by multiple accounts. Dave tried to interject.
It's been parroted by multiple accounts.
Yes. Well, Dave tried to interject and is now backtracking his rebuttal. Even Dave's backing off his rebuttal of this story because it appears that it's true.
Mike Johnson from PW Insider, who I usually believe, if they tell you something's going to happen, it's going to happen. That he gave his notice and he's leaving WWE this summer, probably in like another 3 or 4 weeks when his contract runs out. His fiance is Samantha Irvin, who that incredible ring announcer that they have on Monday Night Raw. And I find it hard to believe that the man would leave the road of traveling up and down the road with his girl, with his fiance.
You said that.
For AEW. Now, Meltzer did not report this, and everyone's saying Ricochet is going to be all elite. Rick O'Shea, with an Irish name, is all elite. I saw graphics for that today. But Meltzer would have been the first one on this story if he was going to AEW. Meltzer would have been the go.
I'm going to disagree.
We're not betting a pizza on this shit.
No, we're not. No, here's why I would disagree.
Said today, here's Meltzer's quote. The relationship between WWE and Ricochet might not be done yet after all. As reporting came out Saturday night that the current Speed champion, he's not the current Speed champion anymore.
No, he's not.
He dropped the belt to Andrade.
Yes.
Had given his notice to WWE that he would not be returning once his contract expired this summer. Dave Meltzer is reporting that, according to those close to the situation, everything is up in the air.
He's now backing off of this. There's been reports that he's backing off of that now. So here's my thing. You said it a minute ago, right? Ricochet's fiance is in this company. And
yes,
I don't, look, the neckbeards are going crazy. Number one, they're like, oh, they're fumbling the bag. I can't wait till we get him in AEW. I don't care where the young man goes personally. I hope wherever he decides to go is best for his career. And personally, I hope it's best for him. I don't care either way. Okay. Just be happy with life. Here's my counterpoint to that. You're going to live the biggest wrestling company in the world, where your future wife lives and works, where you currently travel on the same Monday night roster together. You are touring the country and the world together. Right. This is a humongous opportunity for you, young man. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You've got an area that very few people can do what you're doing. You're a great wrestler. Don't mess up the situation because you're not happy with the booking lately. Just think real hard before you do something. You are also, by the way, in huge main event type areas right now. You're in Braun Breaker's house. I'm sorry. He's going to be and is a bigger star than you. Be thankful for the opportunity. If you don't want to stick around, I understand. But think real hard before you sign outside of this company because you've been presented a huge opportunity.
Here's my take on the whole situation. And I'm going to mention TNA Wrestling. TNA is letting go a lot of people in administrative duties behind the scenes in TNA Wrestling because their positions will be redundant when I think TKO Sports full-blown buys TNA Wrestling and it becomes a feeder system, a farm team, a AAA team for the WWE. And here's why. Jordan Grace is facing, what the hell's her name? Roxanne Perez at the NXT pay-per-view tonight, which is
12 minutes away.
12 minutes away. So she's facing Roxanne Perez. Other people, even Drew McIntyre has talked about, he'll one day find his way into TNA to face Moose or whoever over there. Dolph Ziggler, as Nick Nemeth, is already a TNA talent. Mustafa Ali is already a TNA talent. They're cross-pollinating already with Jordan Grace. They haven't booked any live events past August 1st, TNA Wrestling. They're looking for a place where they can shack up like TNA did in the Nashville Fairgrounds many, many moons ago and do all their live shows from there. They're looking for a place like that to cut down on travel. So we're looking at the UFC Apex, which someone says is in Las Vegas, Nevada, where they're having the show tonight, which is owned by TKO Sports, who is also owns a 4% stake in TNA Wrestling. And I wouldn't be surprised. They wouldn't sell to Scott D'Amore and his family when he threw in like a big bid to buy TNA Wrestling. They wouldn't sell to him because they've already got an offer on the table for WWE.
You think?
Sports.
You think?
I think so. And I believe Ricochet is still going to be on the WWE payroll. He is wink, wink, leaving WWE to show up in TNA for maybe a 6-month run over there and win the championship, win a title, be the X Division guy, beat Moose or whoever happens to be the champion at the time, or Nick Nemeth, who's the champ, or whoever is going to be the champion when Ricochet is in that mix. This is an angle I think they're working. I could be wrong. I'm just saying, but this is my gut feeling. I'm also the guy who said, Mercedes Moné's not going to sign with AEW. She's going to be back in WWE. I saw Bailey's tweet. Blah, blah, yada, 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 yada. I'm not betting a fucking pizza, Don. I'm not even betting a pizza roll. I'm not betting a Hot Pocket on this. But something in my gut tells me, my prodigious gut tells me that Ricochet and Natalya Neidhart are going to be in TNA in maybe a month. You'll see them on there running all around. So
we are going.
Oh, he left. He left, Don. He left. Oh my God, he left. He didn't go to AEW. Biggest mistake of his life, the Nick Pierce will say. It's just terrible. I can't believe this. I want to cover
SmackDown real quick, and a shout out to Eamon. We shouted out earlier. I want to make sure Eamon gets on the card.
Oh, Eamon Perry, yes, the great Eamon Perry.
Shout out. I want to cover just real quick on SmackDown what happened. Right. Paul Heyman is the best thing they've got. He's gold. Everything he does is gold. The AJ Styles recap was great. They were at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky, which holds 23,000 people for a basketball game. They sold, I think, 8,000 tickets for this. And I said, okay, I need to see what AEW did for this show because they were there a couple months ago, maybe 6, 7. They sold 2,600. They had an attendance of 2,600 people. There's no telling what they sold, how many they gave away. So just sort of going with where we're at. Tama Tonga was awarded the night right-hand man, blah, blah, blah. Paul Heyman was ordered to make a 6-man tag. Cody was very angry. Everything Cody Rhodes did this night was gold. Was it not?
It was. It was. He actually showed fire. It wasn't like last week when he was white as a ghost. He looked so pale. This week, he looked like he had some vim and vigor, and he had a purpose to whatever he was going to do. So
LA Knight's
it was good.
Promo. LA Knight had a promo that was red hot. I love it. Jake Paul had a fireback promo that was red hot. I love it. This was.
Do you see a three? Don, I hate to interrupt you. You see a 3-way? Jake Paul, Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight.
It's building to that, isn't it? Like it sort of feels like that's where this is going. But Carmelo Hayes lost. Look, Carmelo Hayes has been a jobber since they got there. They've got to do something different. If that's why you brought him up, fine. But otherwise, why is he getting so much damn TV time? You can't keep putting this guy on television and not giving him a win.
Well, if you have him at Clash of the Castle for that U.S. title, make it a 3-way, pin Carmelo Hayes. Logan Paul loses the belt. All LA Knight's got to do is pin Carmelo Hayes.
Logan Paul's not losing that belt till SummerSlam.
You don't think so? You don't think so? Okay.
All right. He's not even going to be at Clash of the Castle. That's not happening. That's not happening. Just saying that now. Right. Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles finally get into it later. AJ does the shittiest heel move ever. Dives over security, gets a cheap shot in. Old school heat. I love old school heat. I'm going to get my shit in, get my cheap shot, and run out the back door. Bianca Bell Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They look like $1 million. They've now got a triple threat tag team match set up for this thing. Tiffany and Nia. What did I say? Oh,
well, did Tiffany Stratton look like a star to you when she came out and walked up the
She does. Jack? She looks like
she looked phenomenal when she's out of that pastel colors, wearing all black like that. And Nia Jax fell on her ass a couple times in the soda.
Yes, dude, what the fuck? Dude, Machine throws the drink in her face and she goes to throw her. Why is Nia Jax in goddamn wrestling boots in a backstage segment when you know water's going to be on the floor? She ate shit on this thing.
Twice.
God.
And she was so goddamn mad the first time that she fell over.
She was mad.
Salt on her face.
Oh my, she ate shit on that thing. Just out shit.
Good Lord.
Out shit again. So great. Sorry, I'm losing my mind. This was great. Piper and Bailey had it. I like this promo, by the way. Bailey and Piper Niven thought it was great.
Yes. And Brett say what?
That was it. And
remember
then
that? Piper Niven, she shut him down. Yeah.
Then you had the Bloodline versus the Street Profits. You knew how that was going to go. That's it.
What do you think about the new Bloodline?
I said it last week. It's the four horsemen with Paul Roma. That's what it is.
Yes. There's another member of that family that's floating around. Hikuleo. Hey, I don't make up the names. I just report the names. Hikuleo. Hikuleo, I believe it's pronounced that way. I don't know if he's going to be with the Roman Reigns bloodline or with the Solo Sikoa bloodline, but we're coming to a bloodline war. That's what the plan is. Go ahead.
Can I say this before we leave?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinking that Roman Reigns wasn't over or that Cody Rhodes got the belt because he wasn't over.
Sure.
You're a fool. You're an idiot. Everyone. You, me, the chat room, anybody that follows us on Twitter that's a true wrestling fan knows Roman Reigns is over. No one's questioning his popularity. No one's questioning if the guy can work. None of that shit's questioned. So if you think we wanted Cody Rhodes to finish the story because we didn't like Roman, you're an idiot. The truth is, the time had come for him to move on to something else. You can't kick the shit out of everybody every time. Somebody's eventually got to beat you. And that's where we are. Now, the intriguing part to me is, where does the bloodline go when Roman Reigns returns? Because Sikoa is openly talking about himself being the new tribal chief. He's wearing the red, and Paul Heyman is wearing brown pants, from what I can tell.
Yes.
Because he looks like he's shitting himself every episode. I love that guy, man.
The Rock. Will The Rock come back and be the high chief
at the table?
At the head of the table on the Solo Sikoa side? Or will it be Jacob Fatu? The Rock said he's coming back after this movie he's doing, where he's playing Mark Hunt. I forgot the name of the movie. Mark Hunt, Mike's brother.
Look, I can't wait for this all to come to a head.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to where this is going because, look, it's not that I hate the bloodline. It's just not what it was, and you can't keep giving it this kind of love. And on that note, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. Share with your friends. Hit that notification button. I can't wait to do the show Thursday. We will not be here Tuesday because of commitments that we have. Yes. But I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. And I salute all of you. You women and men are why this show exists, and I can't thank you enough.
I got two things real quick I want to get into. This is from Fightful.
We got 2 minutes, pal.
Huh?
Yeah, dude, we got 2 minutes.
From Fightful Selects, since the Royal Rumble, Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp has spoken to several women on the WWE roster who have indicated they'd like to appear on TNA programming as well. One specifically says she believes it'd be a great opportunity for talent to cross-promote and give themselves angles outside of WWE that can help create buzz. Natalia outright mentioned Jordan Grace to us on camera as someone she'd like to work with. One NXT higher-up mentioned Steve Macklin, who is the husband of Snooki Perazzo in AEW. He's also in former champ from TNA. As a natural crossover fit, noting there are a few people in the wrestling industry more familiar with NXT and for performance center process than Steve Macklin. There were well over a dozen WWE talent we spoke to that were open to a period in TNA, and all of them said they expected something of that nature to be happening sooner than later. And my one last talk about right now. I'm going to put this up on the screen real quick, Don, that we're out of here. And yeah. Don, the great Martin Jannetty got married last month.
I saw this, yes. And I also know that Missy Beefcake performed the ceremony.
Cake right there, Don, on the right-hand side of your screen.
Good for him.
And Martin Jannetty was also on Facebook this week and said he's getting a divorce from this woman.
Oh, my God. Don't say that.
I'm serious. He said it didn't work out. We're getting a divorce.
Jesus, this guy. It's 8 o'clock. Get us the hell out of here.
I'm trying, Don. Probably Martin
Jannetty's Mark, I see you, pal.
Maybe Martin Jannetty's rotting foot turned her off.
He got it cut off.
I don't think he did.
Maybe it was somewhere it shouldn't have been, like in her.
I think, yeah. You know who else had that problem?
Until next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.